And welcome back to another episode of the Couch Potato Podcast. On today's episode, we kind of had to throw something together real quick to get an episode out. We had originally planned on doing a best American rock bands of all time, but unfortunately, one of the guests we had lined up was unable to make it due to being under the weather. So Lucas and I just kind of throwing together a hodgepodge, a potpourri, a Potent Potables episode where we just kind of shoot the shit about whatever. So honestly, it may be good, it may not be. I'll let you guys be the judge of that one. It's probably a train wreck, but you come to expect that when you listen to this show. But him and I had a lot of fun doing it. It was nice to get Lucas back. Lucas was out last week if you heard our episode, but Lucas is back in the saddle again, so that's something to be excited about. So after the guitar riff, we present to you the Potent Potables episode of the Couch Potato Podcast. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Couch Potato Podcast. I am Russ, and joining me after a week off is Lucas. Lucas, I know you had a very eventful week last week that didn't allow you to join the show. How's everything going?
Everything's better. I'm about 90%. At this point, so I'm doing a little bit better.
All the health meter that you always have above your head is like at 90%. Did you collect some hearts?
I did.
Okay, good.
I ate some pellets.
Okay. So you're good. Everybody's good at the house.
Yeah. Luckily, my youngest, my little girl, who's 2 months old, she's out of the hospital, so she's doing much, much better.
Good, man. I know with the kids having that, it's super scary, man, especially someone that young.
Yeah, and they put her on oxygen. That was just is pretty much the worst week of my life last week. And then, I texted you the other day and told you my roof is leaking on my house, so it's not over yet.
Yeah. But hey, you're back on the show, so there's a plus.
That's true. I am back.
Well, outside of that, and everyone's doing good. Got anything to report? Anything new? I know. For me, I watched the new Jurassic Park Dominion this weekend. We weren't able to go see it in movie theaters due to the nasty SOB COVID, and we decided to buy it at home. They made it available to where you can buy it on Apple, Vudu, or wherever you get digital movies. So we decided to buy it and watch it. Just not that impressed with it.
Yeah, just
Yeah, I know you and I share a digital streaming service account together. What did you think? Did you get a chance to check it out yet?
I have not watched it yet. I was catching up on some other stuff that Tina and I watched together. Mm-hmm. Finished the Miss Marvel series, which is aight.
That seems to be the recurring theme of the summers. Just everything's just it's okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like people are phase 4 of Marvel is just kind of somebody wandering in the middle of nowhere trying to figure out where to go. They look like phase 4 looks like that John Travolta meme. Mm-hmm. From Pulp Fiction, where he's just throwing up his hands like, what the fuck do I do now? Yeah,
the Adam and I actually talked about that on last week's episode. I don't know if you listened to us. You can listen to our show on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get podcasts. Thank you for the lead-in for the cheap plug.
I do what I can.
Touche, you do it well. We did kind of dove into that last week, just talking about what we think is going on with it, what they need to do to fix it. I'm just of the belief, just bring in the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. That'll be what cures it for me. But go listen to that episode if you haven't had a chance to yet. We kind of ramble on, kind of bitch and moan about why Phase 4 hasn't been that great. But that just seems to be the movie slate in general. Just with movies, the only thing that has been super awesome was Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, and I hear Black Mask is really good too.
Yeah, we were going to get Black Mask. We decided we're going to wait till probably this weekend, although the last bastions of hope to save the summer movie season, that starts next week, or this week, we're recording on a Tuesday, so this will be out Wednesday. Nope comes out Friday.
Yeah.
And then a couple weeks later, we get Bullet Train.
Which I'm really looking forward to that movie.
Yeah. Nope and Bullet Train were, very high on my summer movie watch list. Also, you can listen to our summer movie preview episode wherever you get your podcast. Damn, it's 2 in a row, man.
Plug.
Yeah.
I love it.
I still need to see Black Phone, which I think we're going to watch this weekend.
Oh, not Mask. I keep doing that. My bad.
Well, there's a Black Mask movie that has Jet Li in it.
I do enjoy Jet Li from time to time.
I can't get into martial arts movies as much. Sometimes I'll sit back and watch one, but I just I don't actively seek them out. So I used to work at a video store, so I remember that movie was probably, we would get 4 or 5 copies of that movie on the old VHS videotape, and usually they would get stolen. So we would be down to 1, and then we'd have to turn around and buy another one just to keep it in the store because it was such a good renter.
Fun fact for you, one of my first celebrity crushes was Aaliyah.
Oh, Romeo Must Die.
Mm-hmm.
What's funny about Romeo Must Die is my brother is not a moviegoer at all. He probably sees maybe 1 or 2 movies a year, and usually, well, at least for the last 6 or 7 years, he only watches the Marvel stuff. Or if his kids want to go see, I know he took his kids to see the new Minions last weekend. And I remember I came home from somewhere and I didn't see my brother anywhere in the house. And so I said to my mom, hey, I asked where my brother was at. She's like, oh, he went and seen some movie with a mutual friend of ours. And I was like, that's strange, but okay. So I asked him what he went and seen, expecting him to see something different. And he goes, oh, no, we went and seen Romeo Must Die. It just completely caught me off guard because it's not his wheelhouse at all.
Was that with Mr. Sapp or
no? This is pre
Master Thespian Charles.
No, this is pre Mr. Sapp, which we need to just do a whole episode on that dude one day.
We could do one on him and crazy ass Travis.
Yeah. I know we originally had planned we were going to, it was me, you, and the First Lady of the Couch Potato Podcast, Jen, we're going to try to break down and give you who we think were the top 5 American rock bands of all time. But unfortunately, the First Lady's a little under the weather, so she can't join us tonight, but we're going to do that one next week. So Lucas and I decided to call this just a Potpourri episode where we're just going to talk about a bunch of random shit. Hopefully you guys like it. If not, you'll probably do what you normally do and turn us off after 15 minutes.
Hodgepodge.
Right, yeah, hodgepodge. Potent Potables episode for you Jeopardy fans out there. But yeah, we're just going to start rattling off some random shit. I know we decided to do a rock band episode because sports-wise, this is typically the worst week of the season for sports fans after tonight. Like I said, we're recording on Tuesday, and right now the Major League Baseball All-Star Game is being played. Did you watch the Home Run Derby by chance?
I did not, but my mom is a huge baseball fan, so she was texting me the whole time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Probably didn't even know half the players she was talking to you about.
Not a fucking clue.
Home Run Derby is fun. Sometimes I have to think they have to change the format a little bit. It came down to Juan Soto of the Washington Nationals, who has made news recently. He just turned down a $400+ million extension to stay with the Washington Nationals, which I thought was just crazy.
I can't even fathom turning down $1 million, let alone $400 million.
Yeah, but hey, you know what? If he maybe thinks he's going to get more on the open market, he still has 2 years to go, but there's rumblings he's going to get traded before the deadline, which I think is early August. I don't know. I haven't really gotten into baseball as much this year as I normally have. I don't know if the lockout had a lot to do with it. I was super excited. Then once that lockout happened earlier this year, I just kind of got bitter about it and just kind of started to lose a little interest in it. I'm sure it'll kick back up once the trade deadline happens because I usually will follow that religiously.
Yeah, you are a baseball guy. I'm a little surprised to hear you're not, super into the season.
Yeah, I mean, some of it has to do with my, my team selling off their players. The Guardians are surprisingly are still very competitive, but still, it's one of those things where I miss the heyday of like all the stud players and them being a potential World Series contender. But
Jim
Thom, which is what my mom used to call him, Jim Thom. She's like, I seen Jim Thom hit a home run. I was like, Mom, it's Tomei. How do you get that out of how it's spelled? But
same way you get Favre out of
Favre,
yeah.
But it does lend me to ask you an interesting question. Us being big sports fans, what do you think? How would you rank the Big Four, in terms of the All-Star games? Who would be number one? Who would be the worst of the All-Star games? I mean, what do you think?
I think the best All-Star game is actually the NHL All-Star game.
Really? Why is that?
Yeah. I just feel like it's slightly more competitive than most of the others. After that, I'd probably have NBA, then MLB. Now, see, you and I grew up in an era where the All-Star game used to mean something, and they would play their asses off in all of them, And then I would say the Pro Bowl is probably last because those guys really, do they still play the game?
Yeah, they still do.
Okay. Yeah, those guys don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, I think a way to fix all of them is to offer a giant cash prize for the winning team. I think that would be enticing enough for, the players to go out there and play. So, like, if you have an NFL Pro Bowl, offer all the players on the winning team $1 million each. Those guys are going to play their fucking asses off.
Mm-hmm.
And they can get that through sponsorships. I mean, you tell ESPN you're going to have an all-star game where they're super competitive. ESPN's giving you whatever you want for that. So,
well, I think part of the problem with the Pro Bowl too is sometimes you lose like some marquee players because it's played the week before the Super Bowl, which you're going to lose, players from that as well. And I think at that point of the season, most of the guys have phoned it in. They kind of just look at it as like, okay, I get a free trip to Hawaii. A lot of those guys get bonuses for making the team anyway, so I don't know if a huge cash incentive is really going to make a difference. I have always thought turn it into like Mutant League football. Say Joe Mixon gets a handoff and there's potential like part of the field will just like open up and then he'll fall into like a pit of piranhas and he's got to fight his way out of it.
That sounds awesome, actually.
Yeah, or
fucking Hunger Games.
No, I mean, did you ever play the old Mutant League football video game? I'm probably aging myself a bit because that was a classic at my house during the Sega Genesis days. But
no, see, I was always a Nintendo guy. So
it was on Nintendo. It was an EA Sports game. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, then I must have been too young for it.
I don't know if they make those games available on the game stores like Xbox Live or the PlayStation Store. But yeah, if it's on there, man, check it out. It's super fun. It basically used the Madden engine. And they did it for hockey, too. Mutant League Hockey was like... I played that game as much as the NHL games.
Really?
Yeah, they're super fun. You should check them out. I know for me, I've always felt now that they put some stakes on the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, I think out of the four big All-Star games, I think that one's the best one. They kind of create like a whole event out of it. Like the night before is the home run derby. So it's always like a big deal is the home run derby leading into the All-Star game. And plus the Major League Baseball is the only professional All-Star game that has essentially the calendar to itself. It's not competing with anything else.
Yeah, that's very true.
Like the NBA is typically, they run hockey still being played. On occasion, they might be going against the Olympics or they might be going against the Daytona 500, which that usually falls around that same time frame. But yeah, I think the combination of the home run derby and then the All-Star game actually meaning something because the winner gets home field advantage in the World Series, which that could be
I can see how that could matter to some people, but there are some people on the, an all-star team that, let's be honest, they're not going to make it to the World Series. So
I'm sure they don't. I mean, they still get a bonus too. They're actually doing something different this year. Instead of the game going into extra innings, they're actually, if the game is tied at the end of 9, they have a home run derby to determine the winner.
That's pretty fucking sweet.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool too. I'm curious to see how that turns out. I'm actually hoping for a tie, just to see how it plays out.
Sweet.
I know the NBA All-Star Game is probably number 2 because, once again, they've got the really cool skills competition. And growing up as a kid of the 80s, the dunk contest and the three-point shootout were like must-watch TV. And then now, in recent years, the dunk contest really stinks.
Yeah, I feel like the dunk contest has lost its soul. I used to love that, when you'd have Jordan doing that. You used to have all the big people doing it, and then it kind of ended when LeBron James refused to do it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think too is honestly with dunks. I mean, what more can you see? I mean, I'm sure pretty much at this point everybody's done everything that you could possibly see.
Yeah, so they would have to switch it up somehow. Something that I'm not smart enough to come up with.
So unless somebody decides to jump through the roof of the arena they're holding the All-Star Weekend, then crash back down and then dunk, I don't really foresee anything else. Or if somebody puts themselves on the top of a car. I mean, that might be kind of cool. I don't know, like change it up, turn it into like an Evel Knievel style dunk contest where you do stunts. I'm sure nobody's going to sign off on that. As a wrestling fan,
I cannot recommend enough not to fall from the ceiling.
Oh, that's a good idea for a dunk now. What if they had Hell in the Cell set up in the arena and then somebody throws like one of the participants off of it and they have to dunk and they fall onto a mat? How awesome would that be? What if they had The Undertaker throw somebody off there?
That would be worth watching.
I still think the skills competition are pretty cool. I think the NHL and the NBA are kind of neck and neck. I mean, the skills competition in the NHL is really cool too. But essentially, those are just kind of glorified exhibition games at this point. I think the only reason I rank them so high is because they have the really cool skills competitions.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Pro Bowl just kind of I can't tell you the last time I sat and even watched the Pro Bowl. I think it was probably 4 or 5 years ago. And I think I shut it off after 10 minutes. Like, all right, this sucks.
Well, and the skills competition in the NFL is fucking boring too.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of guys, like the quarterbacks, are all standing out there looking like they just got done with 9 holes of golf in their polos and their shorts. Just like, yeah, sure, I could throw it 50 yards. Why not?
Now, I do miss they used to do the quarterback challenge. I do miss that a lot because it used to be like a quarterback skills competition and everybody took part in it. And they used to I think they used to do it on Pro Bowl weekend.
I still feel like they do something with quarterbacks, but it's just not. The guys look like they're half cocked and don't give a shit.
Well, I think too, there's so much money invested in that position that you're not really going to, like, okay, I'm not going to send Justin Herbert to the Pro Bowl quarterback skills competition and risk my $45 million a year quarterback suffering a severe injury. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So
I don't know. Like this isn't one of the big four, but I really enjoy the MLS All-Star Game. I'm a little biased because I'm a soccer fan and I like the MLS.
All right, here's your 1 minute to promote soccer.
All right.
And go.
So you take the best players in MLS, and the last 2 years they've been playing the best players in the Mexican League, Liga MX. And the game, the U.S. and Mexico is one of the biggest soccer rivalries in the world. So all the players kind of look at it like a USA versus Mexico type deal. So it gives the game a little bit of bite, a lot of competitiveness. There's trash talk, and it's a big deal whoever wins, which MLS won last year with a player who chose the US to play for the USA over Mexico in a penalty shootout. So, there was that on top of it. That was the cherry on top. So it's super competitive. they have skills challenges, but it's sponsored by EA, so obviously it sucks. But the game itself is a lot of fun to watch.
And I know the NHL used to do this. I don't think they've done it in a while, but they used to divide North America versus the rest of the world in their All-Star game.
Yeah, and I think that would be really cool too.
Yeah. I don't know. I just kind of have grown sour of the All-Star game format in general. It's just like I don't care about it as much as I used to. I think I watched the Home Run Derby last night. That's always super fun. And I always tell myself, like, it's essentially it's a glorified batting practice. But every time I end up getting sucked in.
Like, I think it'd be a lot of fun to watch live, like in the stadium.
Yeah, we actually tried to go a few years ago when Cincinnati had the All-Star game. But shit, tickets for that were actually more than the All-Star game itself.
Oh, I'm sure they were, because that's the marquee thing anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. Yeah, I don't know. Like this weekend is just kind of like, or this week, because baseball starts back up Thursday or Friday. But yeah, I've always considered All-Star Week to be like a very rough stretch if you're a sports fan. So that's why it's Potent Potables week here on the Couch Potato Podcast. Another thing, I don't know, did you hear about the Pantera reunion?
Yeah, you and I talked back and forth about it a little bit.
Thanks for fucking ruining my lead. It's supposed to be like, hey, did you hear about that? Then you're like, oh, yeah, you and I talked about it the other day. People are like, God, these guys are so... It's no wonder we're such a shitty program around here.
Because I fuck up all the leads.
I think there's more to it than just that. But
oh, okay, fair enough.
All right, well, what do you think about the Pantera reunion?
I think if it's cheap enough, I'll go see it. Mm-hmm. They'll probably end up doing festivals, I think, that we go to. Like
I just seen a leaked ad. Now, these leaked ads tend to be fake more often than not, but there's a leaked ad where they're supposed to be one of the headliners for some festival in Mexico in October.
That seems awfully quick, unless they've been rehearsing this whole time, which I guess they could be.
I'm sure that they probably have been working for a little while. This isn't something like, oh, hey, want to get together? Cool. See you in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm excited about it in the way that Zakk Wylde is the only person that I would want to see try to be on guitar as Dimebag. Because, they were best friends and their playing style is pretty similar. But I don't want them to call this Pantera.
I think they're calling it a celebration of the music of Pantera.
Okay, well, that's a little better then. Because it's not, the Abbott brothers were Pantera.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I feel about these. And for those of you that do not know, Pantera was an iconic 90s heavy metal band. They pretty much disbanded once lead guitar player Dimebag Darrell Abbott was tragically killed during a performance with his band Damage Plan in the Alarosa Villa in Columbus, Ohio. Fun fact for me and regular contributor to the show, Jason, were supposed to go to that show that night that he was killed. But luckily, old Big Blue saved me from going to that because I was still working part-time and I needed money for Christmas. So I decided to take a 7 o'clock in the morning shift, so I didn't go.
Yeah, thank God for that.
Right. Then, what was that, 3 or 4 years ago? Vinnie Paul, who's the drummer for Pantera, passed away of a heart attack. So, pretty much.
Gosh, doesn't seem that long ago.
Right. I don't know. Just for me, when it comes to these bands that get together, I think it's cool, but when you lose like the selling point of the band, I don't know. It just kind of like, as an example, Van Halen. We'll take Van Halen as an example. They've replaced their lead singer 3 times.
Right.
But at the end of the day, whether you're a David Lee Roth guy, whether you're a Sammy Hagar guy, I don't know anybody that's a Gary Cherone fan when he played with the band. But, hey, if you are, more power to you. Gary Cherone, good singer, just kind of got a raw deal. But really, Eddie Van Halen's the selling point of that band. I mean, honestly, like I never got to see him. I would have seen him with any of the lead singers just to see Eddie and Alex play together. But now that Eddie's gone, there's rumblings of a Van Halen tribute tour too. And I just don't think I would be on board with that. And that's kind of where I'm at with this Pantera thing. It's like, you got two members of the band, but I've always, when I think of Pantera, I always think of Dime and Vinny before I think of Phil and Rex.
Yeah. Like, you hear the iconic voice of Phil, and, that song Walk, a lot of that has to do with his voice is the reason that song's so big, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But the songs outside of that, I mean, the solo on the song Floods is one of the best solos of all time, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And I think Dimebag, if he wasn't a metal guitarist, would have more respect and be a bigger deal, kind of than what he's looked at by, I'd say probably like older folks or whatever. Mm-hmm. Because he's a metal guitarist. But to me, he's one of the best guitar players of all time. Yeah.
I mean, that's the same with it. Like with Eddie, it's just like Eddie's got such a distinct guitar sound that, a Van Halen tribute just doesn't seem the same. Like, I'm with you, though. Like, I'll probably go see this if it's affordable enough, but I'm not going to shell out, like, Eagles concert ticket prices to go see them play.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. Most of the Eagles are still together, right?
No. Glenn Fry has passed away. They still got Henley. They still got Joe Walsh. They still got, I think, Timothy Schmidt still plays with them. But I think they've got some people that have come in and out since then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't know. It's one of the things about it is we're not big fans of the newer metal, you and I. Mm-hmm. So, I do listen to metalcore a little bit more than I used to. I'm a little more open to it than I used to be. Like, I've become a big fan of Motionless in White.
Yeah.
But whereas, I didn't used to listen to them at all. But a lot of our older bands are just getting older, You and I, you're in your 40s, I'm in my 30s. These bands are starting to get close to their 60s that we like. Fucking, like Metallica. Those guys are getting ready to turn 60. Mm-hmm. And, they're still great live. Still love their music, but fuck, man, they're getting old, Yeah,
so. I've become that guy that I used to make fun of it when Best Buy used to sell CDs that would come in looking for, like Dokken and Wasp and all these other bands. I'd be like the guy that he likes that old shit. And now I've become that guy to an extent.
Yeah. Fuck, Nevermind is almost 40 years old, isn't it? It's getting close to 40 years old.
Yeah, something like that.
So it's crazy. Life seems to go way too fast. Mm-hmm. And I think the only way some of the legacy of all of these older bands that we like is going to be tributes like this.
Well, I'm glad they didn't decide to do what they've done with Dio and other acts where they decided to do essentially holograms, and they had basically they played Vinny's, or Dimebag's guitar riffs over a PA, and it's a hologram.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
I don't know. I think it's it's cool who they got, because they got Charlie Belladante from Anthrax to play drums. He's a fantastic drummer in his own right. And you say it was Zach. So I think it might be fun, but I'm not as amped for that as say like the Rage Against the Machine reunion that it's the four of them together, and they just kicked off their tour last week.
Yeah, see, that's not a tribute show. So.
Yeah.
That's all the original guys,
Yeah, I mean, like I would be more excited for like a band that hasn't been together in quite a while, that still has like at least most of the original lineup, versus like something like this.
Yeah, and like I said, I'll check it out. I mean, I watched Phil Anselmo and the Illegals when we were at Louder Than Life. The guitar player was nowhere near good enough to do that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Whereas I think Zakk Wylde actually is good enough and can play fast enough.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not necessarily excited for it, but I'm not excited for it. It's just kind of one of those things where it's just like, it's cool, but it's not necessary.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. I honestly think that this kind of started. I think Rex is only in it because like, oh well, hell, Phil's playing old Pantera stuff and making a killing off of it. Now they're talking about doing this reunion. Like, fuck, I'm in. Yeah,
and I think Zakk Wylde's always wanted to do kind of a tribute to Dimebag in a way, because he's, you go and see any kind of Zakk Wylde anything, he's got Dimebag pictures up, and I remember when we saw him last, I think it was the last time we saw him, he played In This River, which is a song you wrote about Dimebag Darrell.
Yeah, he always dedicates that to Dime, because me and Jason went and seen Ozfest one year when Black Label headlined the second stage of that festival, and that got a huge pop out of the crowd when he played that song and the pictures of Dimebag. Because he actually even brought out the officer that killed the POS that shot Dimebag.
Yeah, it's a tragic situation. That's a bummer.
Yeah.
It was 2004, and it doesn't feel that long ago.
And you never got to see them, right?
I never got to see the original Pantera, no.
Oh, dude. Such a good live band.
Yeah, there's a lot of bands I wish I would have gotten to see. I wish I would have gotten to see the original Alice in Chains, which we've seen them with their new singer, which he's good, but he's not Lane Staley.
Right.
Got to see Phil Anselmo and the Illegals, which is kind of Pantera-ish.
Yeah, Pantera-ish. Well, that's why, for me, ever since Lemmy passed away, I've made it a point that if I have an opportunity to see somebody that I want to, I'm going to try to take it. I know you and I have a very busy September lined up, as you and I are going to Danny Wimmer Presents. They put on, they actually just put on the Incarceration Festival that they have at the old Mansfield prison. That was just this past weekend, but they also do Louder Than Life. They do Bourbon and Beyond in Louisville. They do Welcome to Rockville in Daytona Beach, Florida. They do Aftershock in Sacramento. And then on a normal year, they usually do Sonic Temple in Columbus, our old stomping ground. But I know in September, you and I are going to Bourbon and Beyond to cross Pearl Jam off the bucket list.
Yep.
And then we're going... Go ahead.
Those guys are getting older, and it's one of those things like, I don't want to... I text you when I saw that was on there, and I was like, dude, I have to go. You weren't sure if you were going to be able to go at first, so it was almost I was going to go by myself at first. So,
well, I think I sealed the deal. Next week, I am taking the missus to see the Backstreet Boys.
Which I would totally take your spot. I like the Backstreet Boys. I know they're a boy band, but I grew up right there at the end of the 90s, early 2000s. There was nu metal, there was boy band pop, there was Britney Spears and NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, all that stuff. And I listened to all that stuff growing up. So
it's a good thing I met you later in life, because I don't think you and I would have been friends.
I don't know. We met in 2003. It was right around that time.
But you never told me you listened to the Backstreet Boys thing. Is something that I just found out recently. But see, now it's too late in the game for me to disown you now. So I was like, all right.
I had to let you down easy.
Yeah, I'm stuck with you now. So I'm just going to tell him, like, yeah, I listen to Backstreet Boys. But yeah, then the following week in Louisville, I'm crossing off 9 Inch Nails, Tenacious D.
Which that's what I'm excited about.
And I've never seen Kiss, which I know you're not too excited about, but I have at least wanted to see him, and I know it's not the original Kiss. And see, that's another, going back to the Pantera thing too, like, granted, it's not, you don't have Ace and you don't have Peter, but I kind of always associate Kiss with Gene and Paul. And as long as they're in there, I mean, it's still more Kiss than it's not Kiss, so...
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna stand there and watch them, I guess. I like one of their songs.
They may or may not be on my my list of the greatest American rock bands of all time.
Oh wow!
May have bumped somebody off to make room for Kiss because I completely forgot about them.
As you should.
Nah, they're as big of a douchebag as Gene Simmons is. I still appreciate everything that they've done for rock and roll, and they still have a lot of songs that I do like, even though I personally do not like Gene Simmons as a human being.
Yeah.
But
he is a turd burglar.
Yeah. But yeah, man, like I don't know, like I have a feeling that we're probably going to see this version of Pantera at one of the festivals that we attend.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
So I mean, if they're part of the lineup, awesome. I'll definitely stick around to watch them because I do like those guys in versions of their band, but truth be told, I'd rather see Down get back together than I do this version of Pantera.
Which we've seen Down a couple of times, and they put on a hell of a show.
I love that band. I'd like to see them get back together and do... I think they've got one show this year. They're doing the Blue Ridge Rock Festival, which is, I think, the weekend before Louder Than Life or the weekend after. It's one of the two. But that was kind of we had a friend that went to that festival last year. I heard it was kind of a shit show.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that would be... I'd have to hear good things about that to venture down to Virginia to watch that. So we're in agreement. We go see
by the time you get tickets, you don't know if it's good or not.
Right. Yeah, we're going to be stuck. And like, oh, fuck, all right, might as well just make the best of it. So we're in agreement. We'll go see Pantera. They're part of like a festival. Or I have a feeling, too, they could end up being next year where Live Nation, every year, they have this Ticket to Rock, which they didn't really do that this year because I didn't see a lot of rock and metal tours this year, which I found to be very strange.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot, but I mean, as you and I can attest, COVID is still around, and it is still a son of a bitch.
Right. But I know Live Nation usually puts together a Ticket to Rock package where they put together, it's usually like three different concerts, but it's like the same combination of like 10 or 12 bands.
Yeah.
It's like Korn, Rob Zombie, Alice in Chains, Breaking Benjamin, Disturbed, Slipknot. This year, Mudvayne's a part of that too. That's like actually the Mudvayne Rob Zombie tour is like I think the big metal tour of the summer besides the Knotfest Roadshow.
I wouldn't mind seeing those two.
Yeah,
I've never seen Mudvayne, so
if that show wasn't on a Thursday, and if it wasn't in Indiana, because I'd have to drive like 2.5 hours to go see it, I would probably go. If that show is like Saturday night, I would fucking be there right now. I'm buying a ticket, but it's on a Thursday, and that drive to Ruoff is kind of a shit show. And
it is a very slow burn, that is for sure. My favorite part about that is you're on the highway pretty much the whole time until you get off, and then you go down this one lonely ass road, and then there's this little city, and you make a couple turns through it, and then you're out in a bunch of fucking cornfields for the next 40 minutes or so. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden there's a big ass amphitheater. Mm-hmm. And on the other side of the amphitheater is a giant city.
Yep.
It makes no sense.
Yep. It's just like right outside Indy. And like, yeah, if it was on a weekend where I could stay somewhere, yeah, but yeah, I've made that drive so many times, and it beats the shit out of you the next day. I'm like completely worthless the next day.
Yeah.
And having two small kids does not help.
Right.
So, yeah, man, I'd probably go check out that show, though, if it was coming around. If it was part of like a bigger festival or something.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was at Express Live or whatever they call it now.
I personally think what they're going to do is I think next year they're probably just going to cash in and just do the festival scene. I mean, that's going to be a big attraction for any festival promoter to get that. So I have a feeling they're just going to cash in on that. They'll probably do the DWP stuff. I would imagine they'll probably be on the European festival scene next year. So,
yeah,
they're probably going to rake in a shitload of money.
I would.
Yeah. Oh, hey, like I kind of touched on the two things I want to talk about. Is there anything you wanted to talk about before? I know we had one thing that we wanted to do here, but I just wanted to see if there's anything you wanted to blow off about before we get to the final act of Potpourri Tuesday.
I know that we talked a couple weeks ago about Deshaun Watson. I sent you this thing earlier where he could get only 2 to 8 games suspension. So I find that very interesting.
At this point, though, considering it's like the big story of the NFL right now, I just want it to be over with. I'm getting sick of reading about it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where it's just like it seems like every day it's something a little different. You might hear something else. It's just like, okay, you've had enough time. Just get the shit done and over with. We're like, what, 3 weeks away from training camp?
Oh, man, is it that close?
Yeah, because I think the Hall of Fame is the first weekend in August.
Jesus. Well, I don't. That's all I really had to talk about.
And I just shit on it. There's like, I'm fucking done with it.
Fuck you, Lucas.
Just get it done.
I don't care about your stupid story.
Right.
Nah. No, I do know that getting tired of spam emails.
Yep, that's the. We're gonna wrap this up. We encourage all of you, if you want to talk with Lucas and I, we do have a email address. It's couchbrotatopodcast@gmail.com. Shoot us an email. Hey, if you have a show idea you think would be really cool, if you just want to say, hey, I think you guys are doing an awesome job, if you think that, hey, you guys fucking suck and just give it up, hey, we'll listen to you too. I mean, we kind of already know that. We're still doing it, so we're just going to take your advice and just keep going. But yeah, just if you got anything on your mind, just send it to that email address. But I do get quite a bit of spam email get sent to this. I mean, there is an absolute ton. My emails a day are flooded with just spam emails. So I am going to read through a few of these I thought were kind of funny. And I'll try to read them in the most dignified voice possible for added effect. Yeah, dude, I get so many, like, just the weirdest shit comes through these all the time.
That's the best part about spam emails is when they're really weird.
Mm-hmm. I seen one today that I had to stop and think about it for a minute. Like, why am I getting this? Yeah, like I've been getting a lot of these for I'm eligible for compensation if I attended Camp Lejeune, which I have no clue where Camp Lejeune is at.
Isn't that a military base?
I don't know, but apparently if I drank the drinking water from there, I'm eligible for compensation. So I'm going to look this up. Oh, yeah. Camp Lejeune is in Jacksonville, North Carolina. I have not spent one day in the military. I applaud each and every single veteran that we have. I thank you for your service. But I have never been in the military, so I don't know why I keep getting these. I also got this one. It's kind of a take on the Nigerian prince is going to send you money.
Oh.
Yeah, this one reads, my name is Miss Wendy George, 21 years old, girl, and girl is capitalized, from South Sudan. My father and I escaped from our country to Burkina Faso at the heat of the Civil War after losing my mother and two of my senior brothers in the war. As a result of the political instability in my country, even after the war, my father established his gold export business in my country of South Sudan. He was in western Bahra Ghazal state. Person didn't even fucking spell this shit right. To negotiate for the export of a gold business when he was shot by rebel troops. Well, this is actually tropes. He was shot down by rebel tropes.
Those motherfucking tropes.
Fighting to take over the government of our country. You can read more about the war in my country through the below website. She just left a link to Wikipedia.
Perfect.
After he managed to return back in this country, Burkina Faso. I hate reading like emails where it's just broken up because it makes me sound stupid when I read it. After he managed to return back in this country, Burkina Faso, for his treatment, he died in the hospital here after he undergo all of the surgery and other treatment.
All of them? Every fucking surgery?
Every single one. They did a cavity search.
They did a fucking hysterectomy on him.
Yeah,
he didn't make it.
Yeah, they did a hysterectomy. They checked to make sure his ears were working. Eye exam, colonoscopy, all kind. He got the deluxe package.
Colonoscopy, the old ass gym special.
Mm-hmm. The death of my father has now made me an orphan, and thereby exposing me to danger. Before his unfortunate death, my late father called me beside his sick bed and told me, as his only surviving daughter, that he had deposited the sum of $15.5 million United States dollars in one of the prominent bank in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, with my name as next of kin.
Wow, man, your dad was balling.
Yeah, as a result of the present insecurity of lives and property in our country, I wish to request that you assist me use your account in your country to transfer my inherited fund for business investment. Also, to assist me with letter of invitation that will make me get a visa to your country for residence in order to me continue my studies under your care and to invest the fund in a viable business venture. I am willing to give you 30%, and the remaining balance will be used for the investment under your care over there in your country. Thanks, and God bless you. I will appreciate your respond soonest. Miss Wendy George Gabriel. So not only is she trying to steal my bank information, she wants me to set up a place for her to stay.
Yeah, she wants you to raise her.
Yeah. I seriously,
I thought a whole daughter.
I seriously, I thought about responding to that and just say, nah, dog, I ain't giving you my bank information. Just Venmo me that shit. And just leave the Venmo link down there.
I'll set you up a cot in the garage.
I wouldn't even do that.
Oh man, I'm sure there is something going on in South Sudan, and for her to move to Burkina Faso, but I think she's full of shit.
Yeah, I have a feeling that is not legitimate at all. So good luck, Wendy. Hope you find somebody to take your money. But hey, if you are looking for somebody to, if you have $15.5 million, shoot me an email. Yeah, shoot me an email at the old podcast. I'll give you the link to the Cash App.
I'd be texting you like, God damn, dude, are we doing another show? You just get a fucking text message of you on the beach.
with just gold plated, I would get a grill.
I really hope that's true, actually. I really do hope you get a grill.
I'd look like Little John.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm just cycling through these, see if there's anything good. Because most of these are like from like leaf filter. Try to sell me a leaf filter.
We got any boner pills on there?
Oh, they're coming. They are coming. No pun intended.
That's what she said.
Let's see. Apparently, I am eligible for clinical trials. I take part in clinical trials in my area. Get paid for that.
Oh, okay. Anything in particular?
No, it just says I'm eligible for clinical trials in my area. It doesn't tell me what clinical trials I'm eligible for. Just I'm available.
Listen, if you guys want to use my body, that's fine. But you tell me what you're using my body for.
Let's see. There's tons of debt relief. Apparently, they think that we are financially in trouble and they need to help.
Well, they're not wrong.
Apparently, somebody named Gail's been using our email because I keep getting a bunch of messages for Gail and her confirmation receipt from Walmart.
Hey, Gail, get off our fucking email.
I got this angry one here from Sergeant Linda Wilson. Don't know what kind of sergeant you are, where you're from, but it's all caps. Hello, dear one. Am Sergeant Linda Wilson. Am contacting you for an urgent and important and very urgent and important cooperation message with you. Please reply to me as soon as for mower, M-O-E-R, details. Regards, Sergeant L. Wilson.
Oh, man. I'm ready to jump through a wall for Sergeant Wilson.
Don't have to scream at me, though.
Get a hold of me for mower information.
All right, dude. The last of these, I'm going to forward these over to you because I don't know if you need these or not. But
oh, thanks.
Hey, I don't know. I don't mean to pry into what happens after hours on the Couch Potato Podcast.
Fair enough. Couch Potato Podcast after dark.
So yeah, let me forward this here to you. This one comes from. Apparently we're on a mailing list here. This one comes from Bigger D, the star sign, CK size, at email.com. How to get a bigger dick. Porn industry secrets.
Oh.
Expose the adult industry secret to add 3.4 inches.
That is very specific.
Yeah, it is, and it gives you like the secrets and everything. So, what email address do you want me to send that to?
Yeah, thank you. With all the kids that I'm having lately, my lady is very unsatisfied with my penis size, so I need to get the porn industry secrets.
You would be the there used to be the please Hammer don't hurt him, please Lucas don't hurt him. Get a ton of credit card information, like a ton of credit card offers. Sean Hannity from Fox News emailed me.
That was nice of him.
Biden's plans for retirement accounts. Biden's not holding back. He's warned you that he plans to raise income taxes, death taxes, capital gains taxes, and corporate taxes, some or all of which will affect you or your family in one way or another. And he's asking for money.
Well, of course he is.
Like, dude, Sean, you've got more money than I got, man. Don't come. When my
don't fucking come for me.
When Wendy sends me the $15.5 million, and if you're in need, I will distribute monies.
Wendy, we're really pulling for you.
I really wish I'd have kept these because I delete these on a daily basis, and I wish I'd have kept some of these. Some of these got really good for a while.
You need to like star them and come back to them so we can make this a new segment because this is amazing.
Yeah, I just want to know who's used Gail. Quit using our email address to run your shitty scams.
Here's my thing. Of all the email addresses that you could come up with to fucking give Walmart, Couch Potato Podcast is very specific.
Right, I did see one on there too, and I I think I got to dig through it a little bit. Apparently, the Couch Potato Podcast Social Security number has been compromised.
Oh, shit.
And our credit could be at risk.
I didn't know that we've merged together to form one person.
Neither have I.
On this show. But we've become so synonymous that we're a single person. We're a symbiote.
God, that still drives me nuts. She says it like that. And I like Jenny Slate too. She was always super funny in Parks and Rec.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's like nails across the chalkboard. It's like, you're fucking saying it wrong too. That's the shitty part about it. She knows that that's not how you say that, and she said it anyways.
Don't you do this to me.
It's like, come on, you're making fucking Venom. Like, there's a chance this could or may not be good. Yet, okay, yeah, here it is. Social Security Administration. Attention user, your Social Security number ID will be deactivated within 2 days. Due to suspicious and fraudulent activities, we regret to inform the Couch Potato Podcast that your Social Security number will be terminated within 48 hours. You know what, man? Just have at it, dude.
Shit, how old is that email?
That was
we
from
don't exist.
2 days ago.
We don't exist.
Nope, not anymore. So, yeah, there's just a few of the emails we get.
Listen, the only fraudulent activity that's been going on is we're posing as an actual podcast.
Yeah, we're pretending to know and sound like we know what we're doing, which is obviously, those of you that listen to us know that's definitely not the case. But, that's all I had for this week. This was kind of a last minute episode we kind of patched together, so it's probably not gonna, like, you're gonna listen to this like, this show fucking sucks. But it was nice to spend an hour.
I disagree.
It was nice to spend an hour with my friend, getting back in the saddle, get this show rolling again, get you guys something to listen to until we come out with a legitimate good episode next week. So,
whew, that's a big ask.
Well, no, I've noticed that every time Jen is on the show, it's usually generally well received. Even one of our Apple reviews mentions her specifically, said she has a voice for podcasting. So I don't know. We must really suck that one of our part-time guests actually gets mentioned by name as being awesome on the show, but like no one says shit. Like, oh, Russ sounds like the man that reminds me of when I was a child and I would spend evenings at my grandparents' house. And his voice sounds like the gentleman that would read the evening news. And listening to his voice makes me feel like I'm getting the truth.
Yeah. No.
Instead, it's like, no, we know. Instead, it's like they listen to me like, yeah, dude, we know you're like 40 or 50 pounds overweight by the sound of your voice.
Lay off the cookies, fatty.
Okay, you don't need to go get a Hershey bar after work. And then you don't have to suck down like an ice cream cone before you go to bed, which I don't do.
That's none of their goddamn business, all right?
Nope, I'm going to have to, since Wendy hasn't sent me that $15.5 million yet, I might have to try that Nugenix weight loss program that I also got a spam email about too. I can shed weight and improve my testosterone in less than 30 days.
Well, you have hit the big 4-0. So according to that one commercial with, I think who is it, Bo Jackson?
No, it's Frank Thomas. Where that reporter is essentially eye-fucking him the entire time she's interviewing him.
Well, the man's got money.
She looked like she was not interested in his money. She looked like she was interested in where if he keeps his wallet in his front pockets. She looks like she's more interested in what's going on around there.
Or his front zipper.
Yeah. But, all right, well, hey, let's wrap up this train wreck before it gets further off the rails. Lucas, it's awesome having you back, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm happy that me and my family are all right after COVID.
Yeah, so am I. I'm very glad, and I hope that none of us have to deal with that anymore. I have decided, though, to lighten this up before we go, I have decided that whenever I look for a future job, I'm going to ask for the Lucas Cydrus vacation plan, where I work I work 1 week, take 3 weeks off, work another week, take 3 weeks off.
I got to tell you, it is a beautiful life.
Yeah. So I'm going to say, like, hey, can we arrange something like that where I still get paid for it, but, like, can I just work, like, a week and then just take, like, a month off? You'd be okay with it.
I mean, I don't know how you can't.
Yeah, they're just going to research, like, what the fuck's this guy talking about? They're not going to hire him. Boom.
Who the fuck is Lucas?
Yeah, who the hell is that? It's like, they're going to see my name, like, oh, I recognize this guy. This is the same Joker that said he was the game warden at Jurassic Park years ago. Which is a true story.
That is the best application.
When I was unemployed back in my youth, I don't know how unemployment works now, but it used to be you had to fill out a form, tell them where you applied at. They would check on it. Whether they did, hard to say. But they would, you'd have to send out this form like, okay, I applied at A, B, and C. So just to get the 3 jobs in, I would just apply like fast food restaurants. And on the resume or the application, I said that I was a former game warden at Jurassic Park.
Which, as a former supervisor, unfortunately for you, I would definitely call you in for an interview.
Oh, would you? Okay. Well,
oh, yeah. That's just too fucking funny to pass up.
Well, this is back in a time when people actually like took that shit seriously. Like, oh, we're not going to hire this Joker.
Oh, people gotta something stick up their ass.
Well, now like some of the managers I see at like these retail locations, oh sweet man, get him in. I bet he's a hoot.
Guy's hilarious.
Oh man, shit, he might have been real game warden at Jurassic Park, man. You've seen that documentary, right? Dinosaurs took over this island. T-Rex eats a guy off the shitter, man. It's fucking wild.
Shit's real.
Shit's real, man. All right. Let's wrap this up. So we will be back next Tuesday, hopefully, with a brand new episode.
I got to take 3 weeks off, sorry.
Well, I'll have to round up somebody else. At least I got a week's notice. We'll be back with a brand new episode next Tuesday. Hopefully we are able to give you the greatest rock bands of America. That was an episode I think would be pretty good. At least pretty good by our standards. You know, podcasters that actually are good at this, not so much. But we will talk to you guys next Tuesday. So see you later. And that's going to do it for today's episode. We hope you all enjoyed that one. If you like what you heard, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. You can find us wherever you get podcasts, but they do the star ratings on those too, and it helps get us a little bit more exposure. So we appreciate it. 5-star review if you like what you heard. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So if you want to get the latest show updates, we interact with a lot of our fans on the socials. So please follow us on those. We'd love to hear from you guys. You can find all the links in the show description. So be sure to look at that. That way you can find us, follow us, subscribe, whatever you do on the socials. So thank you. We will be back next Tuesday with a brand new episode. So until next Tuesday, we will catch you guys later.